on your dreams. And my goal is to help people to get off their butts, get off those dreams, and get out here in the world so that we can know you and we can see and feel your greatness.
So, and you were once that person. You were once that person that was sitting.
Oh, yes, definitely.
So what was the first step you took?
I enrolled in a class in college, and because I didn't feel that I was smart enough to do it, you know, to finish a college course, and I'm talking about one class, and I said, you know what? If I don't do it, I'll never know if I could succeed at it or not. And the other thing is when I decided to go for my associate degree, it's like, well, let's see. On one hand, I don't have a degree. On the other hand, I could have a degree, and either way, the 2-year period is going to pass, with or without a degree.
I love that.
Time was not staying still for me.
Gosh, that's so true. I love that. That is a very good way to look at things. So you got your 2-year degree, and then what?
Well, the first thing is when I took an English class because English has always been my favorite topic. And I had a teacher tell me that my writing sucked when I was in the 9th grade and that I would probably never have a career writing and things like that. And so I was terrified of getting into this class, and I joined it, and miraculously, okay, it wasn't miraculous, I worked hard, I earned an A. Notice I said earned. I earned an A. And so I was like, you know, if I could do this, maybe I should take another class. And before you know it, I had finished my associate degree, and I graduated with honors with my bachelor's and my master's and my doctorate. I never knew that there was an A student inside of here, and I had advanced statistics and all kinds of stuff.
Isn't that something?
Well, what's something is that I did not believe in myself because of what somebody else said to me.
Yeah, that's it. We were just talking about that on a show earlier today, and women like you, we were brought up a certain way. We had to go by the rules from the time we were little. We had to get good grades to please people, not to please ourselves, but to please our parents. And I used to get $1 an A, and now I should have asked for more, really. And and so we had so much to unlearn.
Yes, amen.
And we didn't and because of that, we brought our children up differently. They believe in themselves a lot more at a younger age than we did, I think.
You know, I'm going to tell you something, and some of your listeners are probably going to cringe when I say this. I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. When I had my children, and I was listening to my mother, and I had my children, and I was listening to my mama, and I had my children,
right.
I came to a conclusion. Because, you know, I grew up, you know, in a traditional church, and the Bible says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm a grown big woman, you know?
Thanks for beeping yourself.
Right. You know, when am I going to stop obeying my mother? I'm a mother now.
Right.
I need to come up with my own mothering rules.
Right. That's absolutely right. And not to mention, you know, and we were brought up very strict religiously, but not spiritually.
Yes.
And there's a big difference there.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
and it's really interesting to see how our grandchildren are going to be, and there's a definite line of evolution there, which is very promising.
Yep. So one year I set my family down, and I think I shared part of this with you before. And I came up with the idea that every year we're going to sit down in the month of October, and we're going to come up with our new goals for the new year. And so I started working with my children. They were little at the time, and we all came up with our goals for the year. And I typed them all up, put them on the fridge so we could all see our goals all year long. And every time someone, accomplished or achieved the goal, I would put a check mark by it. And those that, accomplished, all of their goals by the end of the year, they got an even more special gift.
Nice.
Very
good. So, and that's an excellent way to do it. And the thing is, you let them pick their goals. You didn't pick them for them.
Exactly.
Which my parents would have picked the goals.
No, mine didn't pick any goals at all.
So that's brilliant. I like that idea. And what about you? What do you do now? Do you still set intentions or goals for the following year in October?
Heck yes.
Good.
I was in a mastermind group one time, and there was a woman in this group that just really got under my skin because she was like, well, I don't believe in goals, and I think it's just a waste of time, and blah, 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 blah. And then I asked her, what is the last thing she accomplished? And she told me, and I said, and how did you get started doing that? And she told me, and I said, oh, okay, but for you hating goals, it sounds like you actually set goals in place. Those are intentions, which are goals. And then you accomplish it. I said it's the same thing. People just don't like that word goals. I love setting goals. I still set goals.
Well, and I find myself not motivated when I don't. If I feel like I'm flopping around, I stop and think, and it's because I don't have any direction right now. Once you accomplish goals, you set new ones.
Right. I know the very first goal I set for myself, and from that moment on, I have been setting goals all of my life, and I will never stop until I'm dead. Mm-hmm. And the first goal, I was 17 years old. I was a teen mom. I held my baby in my arms, and I looked at him, and I said to him, I promise you I will not raise you on welfare.
Aw.
That was my first goal. My second goal was that I will finish school.
Excellent.
Because I dropped out of school when I had him.
Right.
Because I didn't have any help. So I accomplished those goals and a whole lot more.
Right.
I wanted to be a good wife. I wanted to be a good mom. And, let's see, 27 years later, I think I, qualify for being a good wife.
Yes. Agreed. I'm sure your husband would give you a standing O for that.
And then my children, my daughter, I think I qualify for being a good mom because my daughter missed us so much that she has moved out here to Texas with us.
Wow, nice.
So I'm doing something right.
Yes. Yes, you
are.
Not
everything, but I'm doing something right.
Most things, I bet you are. So that's very interesting. So there's a lot of young moms out there, and what would you say to them to get them on the right path and make sure that they have their self-worth in place and no negative talk? How would you encourage them?
Well, one thing I would say is, number one, they probably have tons of negative talk, but I love to challenge people with asking themselves when that negative thinking is going on, who is really talking? Is it your mother, your father, your auntie, your grandma? Who's talking? Is it society? Most of the time, it's not you. And people have to learn how to listen to their own heart. You have to listen to your own heart. If you say, I'm a failure, then chances are you're going to continue failing until you believe that you are worthy of whatever it is that you could dream of in your life. I don't care how many babies, women have had out here, that's really young. You can still make it in this world. You can still be a great mother. You can be a great, awesome woman. You can be a great wife. Don't let those things that it seems like is getting you down now keep you down. You dust yourself off, and you get your butt back up, and you keep it moving. And you keep it moving, and you keep fighting until you are as successful as you dream to be.
Very good.
Let me get up.
I like that. And you come from a place of knowing how that feels.
Exactly.
Which makes you a perfect role model. I like that a lot.
People will constantly when you've done quote unquote bad things, you know, you've winded up in a situation, a relationship that's not any good. It ain't going nowhere. Now you got his babies, and you have nothing other than his babies.
Mm-hmm.
You put off your education, you lost your good job, and things like that. And I say, okay, you know what? Stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
Now what? So now what? It's time for you to sit down and take an ink pen out, not your computer and not your iPad and not your iPhone and not your Android and all this stuff. Sit down and take an ink pen to some paper and think about what you want to do with your life, and do it. And don't let anything or anybody get in the way. And do it.
I love it. Yep, if for some reason that I'm like you, when I write something down, that intention is so much more powerful.
Yes.
And in my coaching, I do what's called a vision story, and it's how you want your life to be. And I have people read it every morning and every night. And I'll tell you, that works.
Yes, I do that with affirmations with my clients. You know, I create affirmations for them, and then I have them create affirmations for themselves. I want them to hear their own voice, not just mine, because with a lot of my clients, I always get, you know, I was getting ready to do such and such a bad thing, and I heard your voice. I want them to learn how to hear their own voice.
Yes, that's really good. That's what that vision story is. I ask a bunch of questions, and then they write their own. So, and it's their words, it's their dream. I learned that a long time ago. My goals, no matter how much you love them, you will never work as hard to help me achieve my goals as you will your own.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people forget that, especially married couples. You know, you have to have your own goals, and you can have goals together, but you also have to have your own. Right?
Yes, I agree with that 1,000%, because I was the type of person, with me being very quiet and shy and all that stuff, I did not have an identity. And I was doing everything to please my mother, to please my dad, to please, you know, even my husband when I got married. And I had to pull away from all of those people and find my own identity. I am more than Jesse's wife. I am more than Delena's daughter. I am more than Norman's daughter. You know, I am who I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now they all fall under my identity.
Right. That's my mom. That's my mom. That's my wife. So be it. That's the way it goes, right? Well, so what would you say to somebody that is thinking about coaching, doesn't know where to start? Why is it a good idea? Why would you be a good coach? And what sets you apart from other coaches?
Well, let me start by saying this first. I'm probably the worst coach in the world to have if you lack confidence, because by the time I finish with you, you will have confidence, and people will react to you differently, and it's not always good. I'm just saying. I'm putting that out there. I'm warning people. If you are in the midst of trying to make a decision and you hire me, Lord help you, because I'm gonna help you. You're gonna make that decision. Number one,
whether you like it or not, right?
Whether you like it or not, you're gonna make it. You know, coach. Why hire me? Well, for what I just said, honestly, you know, you will definitely get results with me. I don't play, you know. I'm very bold. I'm very honest. I'm straight to the point, because I don't want to play with people's lives, and I certainly don't want to play with people's money, because I don't like when people play with mine. And I also, one of the things about me is if someone starts with me and within 30 days, if they're not satisfied, I will give them every penny back. You know, even though I will put my hard work into them, I will give them their money back, because I don't like wasting people's money. You know, and life is very important to me, you know, and people's goals and their dreams are very important to me. And I want to see people succeed. That's why I do what I do, and I love doing what I do. And, you know, and I love having fun. And it's not always going to be fun.